Well guys, after putting this series on a brief 2-month hiatus, we're officially back in the swing of things with NBA draft content. If you're new here, basically what we do on this channel is, throughout the season I post one mock draft every month in order to stay on top of all of the top prospects, keep the viewers up to date on the status of the teams picking, and monitoring how well the players are playing. Obviously, with basketball being shut down for 5 months, this became difficult to do, but with the draft lottery having gone down last night, and the order that the teams in the lottery officially being set in stone, we're back. Before we dive in though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting things off with the first pick in the draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves won the lottery, and with the pick, they will select Anthony Edwards from Georgia. There really isn't a consensus #1 prospect in the draft this year, so it really comes down to fit, and for a Timberwolves team currently led by D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, adding a top wing player is the right move. In his season at Georgia, Edwards showed off a lethal scoring ability from all 3 levels, and his big body combined with his shooting ability make him a very prototypical scoring guard. He can create his own offense off the dribble, he attacks the basket hard, and he's comfortable from all 3 levels. He's not a perfect prospect by any means, and he will need to work on some of the mental parts of the game like decision making and shot selection, but overall, he's a phenomenal guy to take #1. Next up, with the second pick in the draft, the Golden State Warriors select James Wiseman. I'll start off by saying that I'm under the impression that the Warriors will be shopping this pick and look to trade it, but because I can't predict a trade for this video, the selection is based on if they keep it, and Wiseman seems like the perfect fit. Wiseman's an interesting prospect because coming into the college season this year, he was seen as the best player in the class, and after a few games at Memphis, he looked like he would live up to the hype, but then he got caught up with the NCAA, ended up dropping out, and now we've barely watched him play at all against legit competition. He has all the physical tools, measurements, and intangibles to be a big-time player, but it's definitely not a guarantee. The Warriors are set at point guard through power forward too, so taking a center just seems like the best move. Moving on now to the third pick, the Charlotte Hornets select LaMelo Ball from the NBL. The Hornets are pretty mediocre across the board and don't really have any specific glaring needs, so in this spot they'll be looking to add the best player available, and in this scenario, that player is LaMelo Ball. Ball gained notoriety in the basketball world from a very young age for his flashy playstyle, his unlimited range, and most notably, the family he comes from. However, as he's aged and matured, LaMelo has really come into his own and proven without a doubt he's a legit NBA prospect with real star potential, because a lot of the traits he possesses just can't be taught. His floor vision is exceptional, he's an unbelievable passer, and he has a crafty handle that allows him to get to his spots with ease, and the confidence he has to shoot from anywhere on the court is unparalleled. Obviously, he will need to play more under control in the NBA, but a lot of what he brings to the game cannot be taught, and is absolutely worthy of a top 3 pick. Next up, with the fourth pick in the draft, the Chicago Bulls select Deni Avdija from Israel. Avdija is a wing player with the height of a power forward and the skill set of a guard, and he's definitely one of the most versatile players in the class at a time when versatility is king in the NBA. Positionless basketball is as popular as ever, players need to be well-rounded to be impactful, and Avdija fits in here to a T. He's not necessarily great at any one specific thing, being a decent shooter of the ball and an above-average ball handler and playmaker, but he's coming off of a very strong season overseas, and that experience should help him translate immediately for a Bulls team hoping to take a step forward. Up next, with the 5th pick in the draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Obi Toppin from Dayton. Obi Toppin was the best player in college basketball this year, and his combination of explosive athleticism and skill all around make him the perfect modern-day power forward prospect. He brings a level of excitement to the game when he gets to the rim and throws down a vicious dunk, and in half-court sets, he works well in the pick-and-pop or pick-and-roll scenarios where he can pop out and knock down threes. Additionally, he's a very good post player, so when the game slows down, you can throw him the ball down low to get a bucket. The Cavs have a ton of talented young guards, so Toppin could fit in right away in the front court. Next up, with the 6th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Tyrese Haliburton from Iowa State. Right now, the Hawks are ridiculously reliant on Trae Young to create offensively, and while he's proven to be able to produce at a high level, if they want to start winning games, they will definitely need creation to come elsewhere, as well as take some of the weight off of Trae's shoulders. Haliburton could come in and balance things out with Trae, because he's much more under control as a ball handler, he has a great feel for the game, and he can defend either guard position, so the pairing would work on both ends of the floor. Next up, with the 7th pick in the draft, the Detroit Pistons select Onyeka Okongwu from USC. Okongwu very well might be the best NBA prospect in the class at the center position, because the skill set he has is everything an NBA coach could want in a modern NBA. He's a phenomenal defensive player, not only as a rim protector, but he's also held his own when switched out onto smaller perimeter players. He's mobile in transition and in the post, and he's a strong finisher at the basket. The Pistons will have to decide if they want to pay Christian Wood this offseason, and if they choose not to, they could look at Okongwu as a less expensive option. Now, with the 8th pick in the draft, the New York Knicks select Killian Hayes from France. The Knicks have now gone yet another season playing disappointing, uninspired basketball, and all they have to show for it is a mid-lottery pick instead of the #1 selection they so desperately desire. However, fear not, because there's still terrific value in this range, and Hayes is an extremely promising player. He has great size for a guard, he operates pick and rolls at an advanced level for someone his age, he's a very good passer, and his ball handling ability when creating shots is steadily improving. Next up, with the 9th pick in the draft, the Washington Wizards select Isaac Okoro from Auburn. Okoro was the best defensive player in college basketball, he's probably the best perimeter defender in the draft class, and on a Wizards team that struggled mightily on defense all year, he could be a valuable contributor for them, especially with John Wall returning next season. He still has a lot of room to improve offensively, but he has good shooting mechanics, has shown comfort attacking the basket and finishing with both hands, and is a hard worker capable of putting in the work to get better. Up next, with the 10th pick in the draft, the Phoenix Suns select RJ Hampton from the NBL. The Suns were one of the biggest stories of the bubble with how surprisingly well they played, and are hoping to carry that momentum into next year. Hampton is a prospect that brings a confident shooting stroke, solid secondary playmaking as a ball handler, and his blazing speed could add a new element to the Suns' attack. He was a bit injury prone in the NBL, but from what we were able to see, he can be a very talented player, surely worthy of lottery consideration. Next up, with the 11th pick in the draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Aaron Nesmith from Vanderbilt. Nesmith is another prospect that flew up draft boards this year because his production on the court was impossible for NBA scouts to ignore. He's arguably the best shooter in the draft, having made 50% of his threes on over 4 attempts per game, and he moves off the ball like an NBA shooter should, by using screens, cuts, and spot-ups. He also has a 7-foot wingspan, so his length makes his defensive upside equally as tantalizing. Up next, with the 12th pick in the draft, the Sacramento Kings select Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. Maxey had a bit of a disappointing year at Kentucky offensively, but the odds are that his scoring woes were a bit of a fluke because on several occasions he demonstrated an elite ability to put the ball in the basket. Besides his inconsistencies on offense though, he's also a very good defensive player out on the perimeter, and with Buddy Hield likely being something to monitor regarding his situation with the team and his future there, they may look to bring in a shooting guard in the draft. Next up, with the 13th pick in the draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Saddiq Bey from Villanova. Bey is essentially the prototypical 3-and-D prospect, but he also brings so much more than that. Yes, he can comfortably defend multiple positions, and yes, he can also knock down threes at a very efficient rate, but he also showed an improved ability to create for himself off the dribble and in the post. The Pelicans could definitely use some more perimeter defenders after a lackluster year on that end, and Bey is the kind of player willing to accept any role he's assigned to. And finally, the last pick of the lottery belongs to the Boston Celtics, and with it, they select Precious Achiuwa from Memphis. The Celtics got this pick from the Grizzlies, and with it, they will look to add some rim protection. Achiuwa is an incredibly promising defensive player who has the ideal physical profile and defensive versatility the Celtics have proven to like over the years. He's quick, he's agile, and he's explosive, and above all, he could end up being a phenomenal small ball center if the time calls for it. His His shooting ability isn't very good at the moment, but it is serviceable, and if he improves there, then he'll be a valuable asset to have in any rotation. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you hope your favorite team drafts this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.